We're live, everybody, with the NoDQ review, episode number 106. Jeff Meacham is here with us tonight. He has an announcement to make for you guys. That'll start us off in just a moment, but let me throw it over to our moderator, Virtue. How's it going, man?
Hey, man, here we are, and we had some, interesting things kind of develop in the last 24 hours that have become topics for this evening's NoDQ review number 106. And I am Virtue, and this is the elite panel of NoDQ. And, of course, Aaron Rift is here. Big G is back, and Jeff Meacham. So I'm going to start off with you, Jeff, because I don't even know what you have to say here. So tell everybody what's going on.
Well, for those of you that have been following me the last 3 weeks, you'll notice I'm not in a room with a pink background. My happy ass is home in my own damn chair, COVID-free, bitches. Boom! Let me just start off by saying this. If you happen to be in the Victorville area, and God bless you if you go out to Victorville on purpose because it's hot as hell out there, and you go to the Clínica Mi Pueblo on Bear Valley Road, run for your life. They're full of false positive tests. Thank you very much.
Interesting.
I never had the damn thing in the first place.
Really?
So you're feeling good. That's because that's what matters.
I've been asymptomatic this entire time. I just let myself believe because they're supposed to be medically professionally trained, so they know what they're talking about. They have no freaking idea what they're doing over there. So
Crazy.
I am COVID-free. I've never had the COVID in the first place, and I am home with my own whiskey in my own glass, damn it.
All right. Wearing your Meachamania shirt.
Meachamania is running wild in the hometown once again, brother.
Stand by, Jeff Meacham. I'll go over to Big G with this Chucky logo behind him. What's going on?
What is going on, fellas? I'm doing pretty good. I'm at home this week, resting my arm up. Hopefully, I won't have to go for an MRI next week, Tuesday. So other than that, we got a lot of wrestling to talk about. Aaron, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to discuss the topics today. Like Virtue said, quite a few interesting developments over the past 48 hours. We got a lot of interesting topics, and to everybody in the chat room watching live, feel free to leave your thoughts as we go through each topic. For those of you that have been watching, you know that we put the comments up on the screen. Leave your well thought out remarks about whatever topic we're discussing, and I will throw it up on the screen. And of course, super chats are welcomed, but please try and stick to the topic. And of course, you could always throw a super chat at us at the end of the video for additional topics that you would like us to discuss as a panel. Now, Virtue, let's go ahead and get started with this.
Okay, I'm going to bring this topic up first to get out of the way because I know Aaron doesn't give a crap about pro sports. If you want to call the XFL pro sports, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and an investment group has purchased the rights to the XFL for $15 million, which we know it was in bankruptcy. Vince McMahon had this thing fail twice. And look, that being attached to WWE, even though Vince McMahon tried not to have it be attached, it always was. It's not good for WWE business. So this is strange because you think it was just going to disappear. Vince McMahon was going to be 0-2. This is probably the best thing that could happen to Vince McMahon because it gets it away from him. It gets it away from WWE. Who knows if it'll be successful or not, but The Rock's name's involved, and he has a pretty mass appeal. He's the biggest superstar in Hollywood. If XFL just becomes a thing and can last, X amount of seasons, like arena football lasted for pretty, a good amount of time at a couple different stints, you never know. Could Vince McMahon then look from a distance and smile thinking, my XFL made it? Because if this didn't happen, it was never going to make it. So I just want to know everybody's thoughts because The Rock's involved, or normally we wouldn't even be talking about this. So, Big G, I'll start with you. Yeah. XFL and Dwayne Johnson and his investment group, keep in mind it's a group that purchased the rights.
Yep.
We don't even know what's going to happen with it yet.
Exactly. I mean, I was just reading now, they're still going through the motions and stuff like that. XFL, the season did get cut short due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I was watching it here and there when I was at home on the weekends and whatnot, because it was weird times. Is like afternoon time and I'd still be at work. The Rock and his ex-wife Danny Garcia and the company, I think will do excellent with it. Hopefully, it will last longer than 1 year. Let's see what happens. We're gonna get regular football starting in September because it cut out the preseason games. So hopefully, after the Super Bowl this coming year, we get the XFL up and running again. That way, we have football pretty much year round. I'm a sports guy, football guy, so I'm happy that the XFL is back.
Now, if it truly comes back, they purchased it. Now, Jeff, this is a big deal because yes, The Rock has had some clunkers like Doom, and some of his movies haven't been the best. But let's face it, he is like the Schwarzenegger of this generation in terms of superhero type of action guy star in Hollywood. So he's a big deal globally too. So his name being printed on this, does that potentially mean the XFL might have some type of a run now where maybe it wouldn't have how it was before with being in the wrestling bubble? And is Vince McMahon in a good place with this? If it does succeed, knowing my XFL worked, damn it, I told you it would. What do you think?
Well, Aaron will back me up on this because he was with me in those crazy years working the Sunset Strip with the band I used to work with. We were out on Sunset like 2 or 3 times a week. It seemed like he and I doing some sort of footage with the band. If you get a billboard somewhere on Sunset out here in Hollywood, you've made it, right? Like you're like a big deal because it's a Hollywood setting. I came out of the Viper Room around this time last year. I was working the show for another group of mine. And I look up, and to my left is a Ballers ad with Dwayne's face all up in it. On the other corner, same corner on Sunset, mind you, there's a billboard for Jumanji. Dwayne is the biggest freaking star in the world. He's got that Midas touch. Granted, first years in WWE, we had Doom, we had a couple other things that just, pretty much were garbage. But he's and honestly, well, Tooth Fairy was okay because it was that Disney money and he got paid. He got paid for that movie big time. Doom was what it was. It was a train wreck. But Dwayne now has that thing where people can look back and even say that as good as the Fast and Furious series was, it's a million times better now that his character is in that movie, like in those series of movies. Dwayne getting his hands on the XFL along with Danny and, the other people in the group, it's going to be akin to Magic Johnson's group buying the Dodgers. Like, the Dodgers were doing okay for a while. Now they've been contenders every single year the last how many years since Magic's team bought them? This is big for the XFL if Dwayne actually says, okay, I want players on the field. I want this. I want that. And yes, Virtue, if Vince looks back at, a few years and goes, see, I told you, he's perfectly justified. We cannot bitch at Vince for that because he was right. Springtime football can be a real thing. This year was a horrible circumstance. I think it would have gone the distance had we had a full non-COVID situation for the XFL because the NFL is so maligned with, corruption and whatnot that people are looking for any way to get their football. And had we not had this pandemic hit the fan, we would have had a decent XFL season.
Well, and you can bet on it, and I think they had it in FanDuel, and it's a competitive sport, and there's a lot of fans that like that type of stuff. Aaron Rift, I know this isn't your cup of tea, but any thoughts here? Just because Dwayne Johnson is involved, and he's a big guy in the history of wrestling as well.
Well, first of all, before I get to my thoughts, the Cleaver, Cullen Andrew, with a $2 super chat says, happy to hear you're good, Jeff. Good luck also, G. And
yes.
TJS, our good friend, fellow panelist on the NoDQ review, stopped by with $2, says, glad to see Jeff Meacham healthy. Watching tomorrow. Have a great show. We appreciate that, TJS. Thank you. Now,
any view is a good view.
I'm happy that The Rock has stepped in because the XFL, even though I'm not a football person, I feel like the XFL did not get a real fair shot at success. And from what I heard from people, XFL was a better product this second time around than the first time. When I watched it, it felt more like straight up football, no BS, sports entertainment gimmicks. And I think it was good for football fans. And it sucked with COVID-19. Yeah, the ratings were not great, but it was going to take time. Like, Rome was not built in a day. It's going to take time to build a brand and gain the public's trust. And with The Rock, the good thing about him stepping in is people will give it another chance now because of The Rock. People will tune in, and I think The Rock being attached to it is good for the XFL brand, and people that looked down on it because it was Vince McMahon's baby. Now, with The Rock involved, I think a lot of casual viewers will be more inclined to tune in. And I'm sure there's a lot of Dwayne Johnson fans out there that are not wrestling fans. They watch his movies. He's a big movie star. So those people will be curious, and I'm happy for people that will have jobs now once the XFL starts up again. It might not be right away, but when the time comes, I think that XFL will have a legitimate chance to succeed. And I see people in the chat room talking about the World Bodybuilding Federation. And yeah, the World Bodybuilding Federation, that was just doomed for failure. I'm not even sure who the target audience for that was, quite frankly, other than Vince McMahon and fellow bodybuilders. But yeah, the thing with XFL is there is some demand for it because there is that off season after the Super Bowl, and I think it can work if they're able to put out a good product for people. I think it has a real chance of success. Jeff?
Would you guys agree that it was a kind of maybe a minor hit, but when all the books came out after the XFL filed for bankruptcy and they saw that, oh, by the way, there was WWE money up in that kitty.
Yes.
Like that pissed me the hell off. I'm like, Vince sat there for 2 years saying, oh, nope, it's my money. And WWE's an investor. It's like, you're so full of shit, Vince. I knew it. I freaking knew it. I was so mad when I saw that.
This thing might have a chance to succeed for at least an X amount of years by Vince McMahon and WWE having their hands washed of it. And this is where it's at. And Dwayne Johnson can't be a dumb man. Right? And he $280 million, and he started in the WWE. That's where he got his notoriety. I mean, we know he played college football. And look where he's at now. So you got to believe he knows what he's doing here.
Dwayne was on the path to be an NFL star before that derailed, and he went into wrestling. So he knows his football. He knows what he's doing. So
this will be interesting. So we will see what happens. Moving on, let's go to AEW a little bit like we do in last week.
Hold on.
Aaron Rift.
Yeah, I had another super chat I was trying to get your attention. Also, I think before we go to AEW, I have a little bit of breaking news, which maybe we could talk about.
That's what we do. Your news site first.
Okay. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says the XFL needs somebody like Tom Brady to join. Virtue, what do you think about that?
No, because those type of guys stay in the NFL. They're that good. But maybe some second-rate stars or stars that didn't pan out in the NFL that might still be talented, like Antonio Brown. As crazy as he is, if he doesn't play another down in the NFL, he still has. Sorry, Big G, but I'm saying if they can pluck a few stars that really need a job, well, will they settle for that lower money because they used to get paid the big bucks in the NFL?
Hey, all I got to say is our XFL quarterback in season 1 went to the Super Bowl with Pittsburgh. So, yeah.
Antonio Brown's still a stud receiver.
He totally is.
I mean, I think he'll still play in the NFL, but Big G?
I know it's off topic, but this man has retired, wants to play, and now he's suspended for 8 games due to conduct policy.
Perfect for the XFL.
And he's not even signed to an NFL team. But anyways, Aaron, go ahead.
He's paid for the XFL, like you said. Yeah.
All right, so we'll move past that. Adrian, the reigning and defending NoDQ Super Chat champ, sent in $10. He says, Rift, you're never happy with the WWE product. You give out about WWE for not being creative and boring. Yet when they do come up with a new concept, you SHIT all over it. Typical wrestling fan.
That's the main event.
Well, that's why I'm saying maybe we should cover that right now, because the breaking news is that we have a name for this faction that we saw on Raw. This faction is Retribution. So they're not going to be called Justice, Jutus. There was a trademark filed for that, but apparently the new name is going to be Retribution, this group of guys. But we can talk about that later if you want, Virtue. We can go to AEW first. We do have a few more super chats.
What group of guys are you talking about? The Vandals?
Yeah, the Vandals. They're Retribution.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that now. I'm talking Raw Underground with Shane McMahon is what I want it to be the main event.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
We'll talk about. So let's bring it up. The Vandal group that, it almost looked like some looters from the riots. I don't know if WWE is going to be able to get away with this for too long, but here's the thing. There were 5 of them. Do we have any rumors? They look like the ninjas, but we know they're not the ninjas. That's to throw people off. Aaron, do we have any rumors who these people might be?
No, but I've seen people on Twitter just speculate about maybe Ali could be behind this. He was doing the hacking. Maybe this could be the bigger network of people that are trying to disrupt WWE and bring justice to the world of WWE.
Here's my thoughts, and since this is the topic, they can milk this, right? We're not going to know who they are. They're going to get all these vignettes out of them through SummerSlam and beyond. The perfect group of people. You can put Ali in there because they did throw a 5th person in there. And I like how they did that because, you always think, who is an NXT that could be coming up? And we talk about Undisputed Era. There's 4 of them. Well, they threw a 5th person in here, so now we can't really even say who it might be. What if it's the 4 members of Undisputed Era? Not right now, but when they're ready to reveal it, and Ali. There you go, right? Shock the system, create a lot of havoc. What's everybody's take here on who these people could be? They have to have somebody in here that we know, because if it's all new people, come on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You can't debut new people as a surprise. You got to, show who they are the whole time you're building them up, not just keep them behind these black costumes.
Right. Now, here's what it reminds me of, and this is not a positive. See, Adrian called me out, and I do appreciate creativity, which is why I'm willing to give some of these things a chance, but I feel like this is off to a bad start, at least with some of the creative ideas. They start off strong, and then they kind of fizzle out. Nexus had a really hot start. I'm concerned about this one. My fear is it's going to be like Aces and Eights. Aces and Eights, they all were wearing masks and, who was under the mask. And then it ended up being Devon Dudley. And then eventually Bubba was the leader. Bully Ray was the leader of the group. But then you had Eric Bischoff's son, Garrett Bischoff, and
Taz.
That was so dumb.
At the wedding, what?
These people need to create some type of shock once we find out who they are. That's why I said Adam Cole and his group of people, if they stretch this out long enough to justify any of their moves to the main roster. Anything you want to add on that, Aaron? Usually I don't start with you. But.
Well, I did want to get that out of the way, and also there's a lot of super chats here. So TJS sent in $5, said, breaking news as of 10 minutes ago, WWE.com has learned that the faction behind the attack is calling themselves Retribution. They did not name the members. Well, thank you for that, TJS. You're a little late, but I appreciate the $5.
We appreciate the $10, $5 though.
Yeah. And Adrian sent in a $5 super chat. He says, Fandango, Ricochet, Cedric the Entertainer, and Ali will be the 5 members, knowing how WWE operates. Yeah, that's what I'm fearing. Ali might be good because they could tie that into the whole hacker angle, but they got to have some good names behind this. Otherwise, I think it's going to bomb pretty hard. And we do have a few more super chats, and then Jeff, you could chime in. Mike B with a $5 super chat says, sorry if you already covered this. I just got on. Glad to see good old JM. Hope you're feeling better. Jeff is better. He's COVID-free. Apparently, it was a false positive, so we never actually had it. And Dwayne Atkinson with a $5 super chat says, so happy Jeff is COVID-free. I'm a huge fan of him and the NoDQ review panel. Virtue kicks ass. Look forward to the weekly review. And thank you for that.
Thank you.
Jeff, go ahead with your thoughts.
We keep saying the name Ali like we know 100% for sure that it was him doing the hacker thing in the first place. We don't know that. For all we know, it could be Cole and the gang, I'll say.
Didn't they, guys, I know it was an aerial shot. Didn't they look kind of smaller? I'm just saying. I mean, that could change.
Right. It's just because we saw 5 guys that looked small last night doesn't mean we're going to see 5 guys that are small next week or on Friday or whatever.
Yeah, they could just be different guys.
Yeah, it's like Aaron said, aces and eights. Unless it was the main guys in the shot, like actually got the masks off, I guarantee it wasn't the same 5 guys every time on Impact. Like they had people rotating through OVW. Okay, well, you're not doing anything tonight. Go to Impact and put a mask on. Whatever. So, I agree with Aaron that it needed to have a hotter start than it did, because Nexus had an amazing debut, and then they tanked them in front of both Aaron and I at SummerSlam. Of course, I was already tanked more than they were anyway, but that was that night.
And tonight.
Well, no, not yet. Okay, maybe. They needed to have a better start than they did, and it was it was different, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I need to hop to the water cooler in the morning at work and talk about it different. Like it was like, okay, just another attempt to see if we can get a buzz. I don't think it gave me enough to talk about at work the next day, based on what I saw. If they do something more, maybe. It did come off more like Tozawa and the Ninja, so I was like, okay. I'm very kind of like, okay, I'm gonna leave it here and see where it goes next time I see it. Before I get. To
their credit, there's no fans, so they can't make like when the Shield debuted, they can't do that in an arena, even when the Nexus did their thing. So what do you do? You can't.
That's the thing. The Shield stayed impactful and pure and everything because they were able to come down through the crowd like they were rebellious and they were like outside of the establishment. Granted, they were hired guns by Punk and then by the Authority for a while, but they still had that mystique like the NWO did 20 years ago. You never saw the NWO come out through the entryway until they were revealed as having Bischoff on the inside, right? So there is potential here. It's just based on what we've observed, and Adrian's going to shit on me now for saying the same thing. Like Aaron says, I'm kind of a wait and see, because creative direction the last couple years, especially during the COVID stuff, it's like, okay, sure.
Yeah, well, let's just look at the Fiend and the column that I recently wrote, for instance, right? So we're not even talking about that, but if you want to know what I'm talking about, go over to NoDQ.com.
Check out that column. Seriously, yes.
Now,
man,
Big G. Are you getting? I mean, it's just weird. Like you'd think you'd wait until crowds come back before you maybe debut a group where you can have fans get a pop. Yeah. But maybe by doing what they're doing, these are just like little teaser things, and they can keep changing this and morphing this. Like, will they end up showing up on Smackdown too during the tapings? Could they show up in NXT? I don't know. Is this going to be exclusive to Raw? That's what we really have to find out. Unless we don't know that yet, do we, Aaron?
No, but it would make sense for them to be on all the shows if they're this renegade group that's pissed off at the company. They should theoretically be on all 3 shows.
Yeah. Big G, could you see this group of people? Now, I did my Undisputed Era, Adam Cole. Yeah. We can name a million different people we could think could be in this group. Could it be like a higher power? Could there be a leader of this group that really we all crap our pants? Now, again, this is getting into fantasy booking. It's way early, but could you imagine if this group, when it did debut, it's like led by Roman Reigns? Well, and we were like, what? I'm just saying, we don't get that anymore by WWE.
No, we don't.
We don't get
Go ahead,
anything.
Aaron.
Stefan's in the chat room, and he suggested maybe Paul Heyman be the leader of the group, representing his Paul Heyman guys, and Heyman's sick and tired of all the bull crap.
I think the fact that they removed him from Power as executive director would be a really good thread to pull on. But I don't think they would have maybe Bruce would, but I think Vince would hesitate to do that. I really do.
Big G, what's your thoughts here, man?
So I don't know what to think. When I started watching Raw yesterday, like I saw the lights flickering and the mics are going out. And I was like, okay, this could be something with this new faction. And then they showed the camera footage with them, setting the stuff on fire, causing all this mishap. And I'm thinking to myself, couldn't they do something better than just lighting stuff up and causing power outages and lights flickering and whatnot? I'm just gonna sit back, wait the next couple of weeks, see what happens. it would be cool if they were on all 3 shows because that would make a lot more sense in my opinion. But if they're exclusive to Raw and they're called Retribution, I'm just gonna name some names: Cedric, Ricochet,
Bo Dallas. I saw somebody in the chat
Bo
mention
Dallas.
Bo
Oh my
Dallas.
god!
There you go.
You know what they're gonna do?
But if they
They're gonna
have a
use
great
people-
leader, it will be fine who the Stooges are.
Yeah, but I mean, it's probably just gonna be people they haven't used in a long time and said, you know what, screw it, we're just gonna come up with a new faction to create some shock and awe. That way we can get our ratings back up and people will start watching wrestling again. So
We got to wait and see. This is going to be a slow burn. I think.
yeah,
They're
Yeah.
going to have these teased for weeks.
Yeah, they might.
Big G figured it out. He said light it up. That means AJ leads in the group. That means CM Punk's coming back. Boom, there it is. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Like that, that's
Spoiler
like that's the highest you can get in terms of a buzz if he revealed his face. But like we know, come on.
Oh,
I
of
think-
course
I
not.
think
Say that too.
the
Highly
biggest shock would be
unlikely.
people like we mentioned, Cedric, Ricochet, and then it's like Adam Cole. Like maybe he comes up to the main roster and not all of Undisputed Era yet, and like he's the guy. I could see that, but we gotta wait
Well,
and find.
Well, I think with Adam's buzz stuff, with the Pat McAfee stuff, he'd be perfect to be that guy. Oh, so they're gonna send me to this asshole show and get me buried, and then they're gonna reprimand me for it. Well, I'll just start causing havoc.
Right.
There you
Hey,
go.
maybe it's the Forgotten Sons. Curtis Butler brought that up, and they're pissed off about being taken off TV, and this is their new gimmick that they're destroying property and
Retribution.
If it's those 3 and Adam Cole and like maybe one other like buzz name, I'm all in on that. That's totally fine by me.
Now, Virtue, before we get to the next topic, I guess we got a side topic here. Johnny Boy sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Johnny. He says, out of these 2 matches that have never happened, which one do you think would have stolen the show more? Shawn Michaels versus Eddie Guerrero or Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle? Wow, that's a really tough one.
Either one, because matches that you know are going to be great don't steal the show. They're going to be great. You know what I mean? So, but now which would be a better match? I always pick the match that includes Shawn Michaels.
Right.
That's just me.
I'm going to do a poll on that. You know what? I'm going to poll people and see which match they would pick. That's very tough.
Because you have to think of it like this. At the time where those guys were active in the company at the same time, Brett was not active when Kurt was active, except they were in opposite companies. Because Brett was at the tail end of his run with WCW when Kurt debuted. By the time Kurt became Kurt, Brett was already concussed beyond repair. Eddie and Shawn were both in the company at a time where they were both still cooking with gas. That could have been a hell of an opportunity that they did not cash in on.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. He says, if Retribution has Ricochet, then they're all jobbers. Yeah, I mean, they could just be, they could be DOA, not the faction, but just dead on arrival. And Tyson sent in a $2 super chat, says, there's a female in the group. I heard a female voice. I did see a couple of people in the chat room mention that, so maybe there will be a female addition to the group. And Dwayne Atkinson with a $5 super chat says, could the Raw Underground just be something new for a new Aleister Black gimmick? I don't know about that, but we'll talk about the Underground segment in a little bit. Adrian sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Adrian, and thank you, Dwayne. Adrian says, I agree with Virtue for once. Shawn Michaels versus Mr. Perfect was a disappointing match. Yeah, SummerSlam 93 was very much a letdown. But yeah, I think 2004 Eddie Guerrero versus Shawn Michaels would have been amazing. And then, like, even if Kurt Angle and Bret Hart could have done a match in 2000, that would have been phenomenal. Like, Kurt Angle came in right as Bret was leaving, but I think even if they were able to have a match, it would have been pretty damn awesome. So anyways, let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah, because Kurt debuted at Survivor Series and Brett got concussed at Starrcade, so there was just no opportunity.
Yeah, so
we'll move over to AEW and yet another former WWE debut in AEW. Whether he has 5 appearances or he works there for a year, Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder is there, buddies with Cody, and here's what I'm thinking with this.
Oh, here we go.
Why bring him out like that? Like, I'm nothing against these indie talents for Cody, but bring somebody like he should have challenged Cody for the title. Friends or no friends, right there, right on the spot on Dynamite, instead of bringing these indie guys in. And also, we've talked about that. Why isn't anybody within AEW challenging Cody for this title? I mean, there are, but anyway, Big G, Zack Ryder, woo, woo, woo. You know it. Is he gonna like make a splash here in AEW? And then you can also talk, I know you wanted to talk about MJF's promo as well. So since it's AEW time, you can also mention that.
All right. So Matt Cardona, glad he's in AEW. You know, he had a good run in WWE for a while, and then he was up and down, fluctuating. You know, the funny thing is, though, as soon as Matt Cardona left WWE, they took Chelsea Green off of TV. I haven't seen her since. Coincidence? You know?
Well, hey, Big G, before you finish your thought, I can go ahead and answer this super chat. Colin Andrew, unfortunately, sent it a little late, but we'll go ahead and read it here. He says...
That's okay. It's still the review. We got to please everybody.
Absolutely.
Right.
He says, if it is the Undisputed Era as Retribution, or even if they come to the main roster, which female would you add to the group? What about Chelsea Green? Since
Chelsea, yes.
I mean, she seems like a good pick. And, I mean, Britt Baker, obviously, if Britt was not under contract to AEW, but of people that are currently under contract to WWE, I would say Chelsea Green. Anyways, Big G, go ahead.
So as I was saying, you know, I'm glad that he's there in AEW. The cool thing I would like to see is, though, after this match against Dark Order, I want to see Matt turn heel on Cody after the match and then challenge him the week after for the TNT title and beat him for the title. You know, hopefully he has a better run in AEW this time. As far as MJF, oh my God, this guy, he's the best heel talker that I've seen since I really can't remember. You know, he was. It felt like it was real, like it wasn't scripted. It felt like it was coming from.
You know
him.
why, Big G? Because when he was in the Indies, he's that 24/7 heels used to be.
I've when
no
MJF
podcast
first started
like Jericho, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I saw MJF back in like 2014, 2015, back on the Indies in MCW, and he was already like that. People were booing even before he started talking. The man can cut a promo. I'm very intrigued in this match between him and Moxley coming all out. So let's see what happens.
All right. Jeff Meacham.
First of all, I can't wait for Max to be the champion. Because I have liked Friedman from the beginning. He's everything that a wrestling heel should be, and even more so. They talked about this. I forget which podcast it is. I listened to one of the Conrad shows, but there's not enough wrestling heels where you just can't wait for that guy to talk your butt into that seat to make sure you can watch him get his ass kicked. We don't have that anymore. Max is that guy. If they were letting people in Daly's place, that place would be filled to the brim, wanting to see John carve him to pieces. And he won't. He will still lose the title to Max because that's the way it should be. As far as Matt, you know, Aaron and I have our thing with Matt because he costs us our hair, so whatever. Yeah. But I'm happy he's getting an opportunity because, you know, somebody Big G mentioned that he had a decent run in WWE. He had a prolonged run. I wouldn't call it decent. He kept, you know, he would have this brief little moment of glimmer. Oh, he's gonna. Oh hell, you know. It wasn't even this. It was.
Jeff, would you agree? It's because he got himself over on the internet, and that pissed his management off?
100%. The fact that he was the internet champion and the people were, you know, living vicariously through him, you know, it pissed Vince off. I dare say it even pissed Hunter off because back at that point, Hunter was very much like grumble, bitch about the internet people. So I guarantee that pissed off enough people where they went, all right, we'll give them what they think they want and then we'll bury him. He wins the big match at WrestleMania and then he jobs to The Miz the next night, which just, again, you know, Aaron and my collective baldness was like at that, but that was indicative. He wins the big moment, has the moment backstage with the IC champions, and he jobs out 24 hours later. That was Matt's whole WWE career in a nutshell, right there.
Yep.
So,
or
I
also getting pushed off the wheelchair by Kane off the stage during that whole Eve thing or whatever. Remember what?
Yeah. The fact that he got tossed off the stage after he watched his girl get macked on by John Cena. Yeah, Matt had a bad. Oh God. I do agree that he should have been challenging Cody straight out. Like, oh, by the way, I bailed you and that's great, but I want a shot at your title. But I think it's better that they're gonna go. Okay, he's gonna be a Cody's buddy. He's gonna keep being Cody's buddy, and then. You know, I've been saving your butt quite a bit. Let's give a little back here and give me a shot at the title.
And if he does have a 5-appearance contract, I don't know how that goes. That just could be a bunch of BS. This happens for 4 shows, and then on the 5th show he challenges him. Cody beats him, and then he's gone again. But anyway, let's hope.
But you know what? I'd rather have 5 appearances by Matt like that, where he's got the buzz the entire friggin' time, than cool down for 345 years and then a brief moment and then more cool down. So,
Aaron Riff, thoughts here on Cardona, MJF? I know you do your AEW show every week, but...
All right, well, to answer Psycho Jet Black's question, he sent in $2. He says, are you still mad at Zack at WrestleMania 32 and the block on Twitter? Yeah, I'm furious. I'm so angry that Zack Ryder made me shave my head. I've been losing sleep over it. I still have nightmares about it. So F Zack Ryder, or whatever his name is, Matt Cardona. But seriously, though, I hope he does well. I'd like to see him do some of his skits that he did in WWE when he was the internet champion, but have a more serious tone. Like, he should be well-rounded. Be serious, have some funny moments, and we'll see what he can bring to the table. Time will tell. He'll have a chance to prove to the world that WWE made a big mistake on him, and we'll see if he can recapture the lightning in the bottle. Now, as far as...
you know, all these guys do, because you've got Slater and Myers working in Impact. They have a chance to do something well, too, so, you know.
Right. Adrian sent in a $5 super chat. He says, Zack Ryder, or whatever you call him in AEW, hasn't been relevant in around 5 years. Well, actually 4, because he did win the IC title in 2016. So that was really the last time. Wasn't he tag team champions? Tag champs with Kurt Hawkins, and then that whole thing became
last
a big...
year, 35. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
In New York, New Jersey. So I mean, that was something for him.
That's the thing. He wins the titles with Kurt Hawkins in his home area, and then they didn't do anything with him after that. So.
Now, as far as MJF goes, MJF is a lot cooler, in my opinion, than Matt Cardona. MJF, he was brought up as a young man very well. He had some good people in his ears, like really intelligent people that told him about wrestling, and he's gone on to greatness. MJF is one of the best things about AEW, and I did a poll. Is it too soon for him to be champion? And 51% yes, 42% no. I do think the match is being rushed, but I think AEW's got to go with him. I think you got to put the title on him. They may wait, though, until there's fans again. So I would not be shocked if Moxley wins and then MJF gets a rematch down the line. But I think you got to go with the homegrown talent and make a new star. MJF has that potential. Jeff?
The problem with waiting until we get fans back is we don't know when that's going to happen.
Exactly.
You know, this whole. I'm going to go into the weeds here, and I apologize, Virtue. I know this is your baby.
We're going to go over an hour today. That's fine.
Yeah. Right. Jeff Sommer going over an hour. It is what it is. Sasha and Bailey thing. You know, they're going to go at SummerSlam. They're not going to go at SummerSlam. They're not. So, you know, waiting to pull that trigger has, you know, to be fair to WWE, they have me interested in what they're doing with Sasha and Bailey now. Like, as far as, are we ever going to see a turn? On the AEW side, though, they've got a hot hand. Max cut the promo of his friggin' life last week. I've never seen that kind of passion on AEW out of the heel probably since Jericho really started to really build the company, right? Yeah. So if they don't pull that trigger all out, they're making a huge mistake.
Yeah, and Jeff, like MJF, he's one of the few guys that's still keeping kayfabe alive. Like, he did that autograph signing and flipped off the kid. Like, I love it. He's doing the kayfabe, and I think that's great. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, he is the kind of heel that if I was still in the business, I would love to get my hands on him and work a show with him and be in his corner, because my God, the heat I would sponge off of that kid. Holy crap.
His promo level is the closest I've seen heel-wise, and just since Brian Pillman, ECW. I still think Brian Pillman, ECW, and a little bit into WWF, was the best promo ever in terms of just that rage, passion. Right. He did bring the shoot stuff in, but MJF is really close to that.
Yeah, if Brian hadn't shattered his ankle, he'd be in the conversation of greatest heel promo of all time. He would.
All right. Now, before we get to the next topic here, the game is on 100 sent in $5. He says, your thoughts on Cameron / Adriana, I'm not even sure how to pronounce her actual name, being in AEW. Personally, a waste of money in my opinion. She couldn't wrestle, and she sucked in Champions versus Stars Challenge. I'm not even sure what that is either. But I believe it was just a one-off deal for now, but there's the possibility for her to be brought back. I know it got a lot of people scratching their heads, like, of all the women to bring into AEW, why her? I think they just needed some people for the tournament, and she was available, so they're like, well, we're going to give people an opportunity, Caitlin was actually interested when she showed up on AEW, and she was not really paying a whole lot of attention to the show until Cameron showed up on screen, and she's like, oh, okay, interesting.
Well, here's what would be interesting if they pushed her, right? Because she used to be like with Naomi, the Funkadactyls. So with everything that's been going on with Naomi, and she's trying to clamor for giving me another chance, that would be interesting if AEW pushes Cameron. I don't know.
I think there was one person in the proxy of our 4 rooms that was interested in her showing up the other night, and that's good for her that she was happy Ariane was there. I will never, ever forget the first time I remember seeing her with the whole promo on Tough Enough. And it's like, for me, everything after that was like, no, you can't come back from that.
It's like first impression, it's over. Like you.
Yeah,
everything, right?
If you're, and I am not disrespecting Melina. We love Melina, Aaron and I do. We've had her on our shows and whatever. And I'm not the biggest Alicia Fox fan, but whatever. If that's your favorite match, you have lost me forever.
There's no retribution.
Mine had to go blank.
There's no retribution. Yeah, there is no redemption. You're done.
Okay.
Now wait a minute.
Moving on. Dominic versus Seth Rollins.
Hold on, Virtue. We got another side super chat. I'm going to call them side super chats when somebody leaves an off-topic super chat to throw the whole mojo off when we do these videos.
Monkey wrench in the works.
Ruining our flow here. Dwayne Atkinson with a $5 super chat. So Virtue has his list. He's very much about structure. He wants everything to be done in a nice, orderly fashion. It never
goes in order.
Yeah. You guys screw with Virtue. He has everything written down and well thought out and planned, and then Dwayne Atkinson comes in. I can post
that as a column then, right?
Yeah. Dwayne Atkinson comes in with a $5 super chat to throw everything off. He says, if the 3 faces of Mick Foley faced the 3 faces of Bray Wyatt in an elimination match, who would be the final 2 people and how would it end? I gotta go with Mankind and The Fiend. Mandible Claw versus Mandible Claw. But Big G, you haven't been talking much. So, what do you think?
So the 3 faces of Foley versus the 3 faces of Wyatt.
So
I would go with.
The Fiend, Swamp Thing, and Mr. Rogers. Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna throw everybody off.
And leave us. Well, he really threw us off. That's for sure.
If he comes back,
we'll
let him.
Maybe the Fiend got to him. Maybe the Fiend attacked him in his room.
I agree with you. Fiend versus Mankind. All right, Big G, you're back. You cut off. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was saying I would just to throw everybody off.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you. This has got to be the little bonus clip that you post on Twitter where your feed just cut out. We're like 44 minutes in, so find it and you got to post that.
All right.
For a second.
It would be Dude Love versus Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt. That's how I would see it. Yes. And nobody would win because they'd have a dance off.
Oh my god.
That's how I would see it.
Diva Dance Fever.
Yep, there you go.
That's it. I will co-sign with Big G on the silliness side of that, but if we're having an actual this is serious thing, I think that Cactus Jack would be the one to outlast Mankind and Dude Love. Mankind is so deranged and so crazy that he would get himself hurt or disqualified or something, and Dude Love would PUSS out and run for the hills. Cactus was diabolical. Cactus was always thinking about different ways to hurt you. He got that great promo on Sting about, I was counting sheep, counting ways in my head to hurt Sting. I didn't even get to his legs. So, that's Cactus.
Right.
On the Bray side, again, I gotta go with the Thinking Man's guy, and I think that the Swamp Dweller would be outlasting, and I think it would be so hardcore and so twisted that they would both end up in a schmaz, a non-finish, because it would just be so diabolical they would kill each other legitimately.
Now, Jeff,
there you go.
I got this comment here from Adrian. He sent in a €2 super chat. I think I screwed up earlier by saying dollars. It's €2 super chat. I'm not sure, yes. Jeff, I'm not sure if you know this or not. He says on here, Melina is very flexible.
I happen to know for a fact that Melina is extremely flexible, especially when she's sitting in the front row of the comedy club with a spiked watermelon in her lap, because her and I ended up freaking completely getting tanked at that club and watching trying to watch John Morrison's set. And then I went upstairs to the bar and got more drunk with Dolph Ziggler. So, it was a very flexible night all around.
And then you got a text message from
drinking with Buff Bagwell on Bourbon Street.
That is the one thing I have not done with Bagwell is drink with him, and I don't have
he was still okay then. That was a few years ago. That was New Orleans WrestleMania. I know that video that popped out not so long ago. He looked pretty rough.
Now, what'd you say, Aaron? I got a text from who?
Your buddy, the guy I cannot name.
Oh no, that was actually. I was there because he was there.
Oh, okay.
Like I only got to interview John and Melina because he set that up.
Moving on.
Oh, wait, hold on. Greg Cherrymark. Greg Cherrymark sent in a $2 super chat, says, could Orange Cassidy's gimmick work in WWE or NXT? No, because Vince would say, this is stupid shit, pal, and would get rid of him after 1 week and say, to hell with this guy.
Saying for a year, I don't understand the shtick. I don't get that at all. It boggles my mind that he's over. I don't understand it.
Just for that, I hope Orange Cassidy starts kicking you in the shin, and then maybe you'll respect him more.
I'm with you, Jeff, too.
I'll tell you what, Aaron. If we ever let fans in the building again, and I get to go to an AEW show, I will purposely let Orange Cassidy give me the Orange Cassidy kicks in the shin, and then I'll punch him in his face. How about that?
There you go. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Is that orange juice?
No, it's water.
Squeezed. Okay. Dominic versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. So, there was a little bit of fake energy last night when they did that angle where Dominic came back out and attacked Rollins. But the best part of this whole thing last night, and I just feel like they're going to drop it, is when Rollins got in Tom Phillips' face and they were getting tense, and then Joe kind of gets in there. And I just feel that was the distraction for Dominic to come out. And I feel like they're not going to touch on that again. And to me, that was the best thing I've seen on Raw in a while. So what's everybody's thoughts here on Dominic versus Seth coming up here at SummerSlam? And, of course, was I overlooking that? Jeff, I'm going to start with you. I was, pulled in with that Rollins clip with the announcers last night. I don't know what it was.
I was waiting for Joe to start peeling off the suit and all right, look.
Because you see how he was doing this at first, looking away, not acting like he had anything to do with it. And then when they wanted to do something to Tom Phillips, then all of a sudden he got up, he's my colleague.
Yeah, it very much reminded me of Taz or the King when somebody would come up and you get with Cole or Law or Cole or JR. I'd be like, no, okay. Now you're going places you don't need to go. I also enjoy the fact that it's the 15-year anniversary of Dominic's last major involvement in the storyline at SummerSlam. So there is that. Dominic getting his big SummerSlam moment after he got a big SummerSlam moment 15 years ago, which 15 years ago makes me feel super old. The fact that it's been 15 since Eddie passed. If you really think about it, it's going to be 15 years since Eddie Guerrero passed, which just throws me off completely. I'm intrigued. I'm enjoying the Dominic thing. Like, I didn't want to because I've been over Rey Mysterio since 2006. I'm like, whatever. But I am. But I do like the fact that they're going with something out of the box where you wouldn't think that they would use Dominic Mysterio in a capacity like this, and they're putting him with Rollins, who, people crap on Seth Rollins for, not being careful with people like Sting or Balor or whatever over the years, but you can put Seth Rollins with anybody on that roster, and if they don't come out looking better than they did going in, then they're the problem, not Seth.
Yeah.
So
and
Dominic has potential here. So
thank you, Jeff. Look, and Jeff, Seth Rollins was cutting a good promo. Tom Phillips was selling it pretty good. There was that tense. We know wrestling's fake, but like if they go outside the box and do stuff like that, and then you didn't think anyone was going to back up Tom Phillips, and then Joe did his thing. But I was so disappointed when it was just to get a distraction so Dominic could get in there.
Yeah,
Big G.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, it's one of those things where it's, you don't really get the people in the announcer's face anymore because, Stone Cold overdid that a lot in 01 when he was freshly squeezed heel. He was, messing with JRN and Cole, and he beat the dog out of Cole that one time on SmackDown. It was ugly, but, you don't see that anymore. And the fact that we got to see it made it feel, dare I say, real.
That's what I liked about it. You see, it let me suspend my disbelief, even though we know it's staged. Big G, thoughts here? You're a big Dominic fan?
He
didn't have to go through NXT, did he?
No.
Nope.
I mean, his dad's been training him for the longest time now. I mean, ever since he was a little kid, I'm sure Dominic was always there ringside when his dad was training and whatnot. So he's gonna pick it up. It's in his blood. It's his family. La Familia, if you want to go there. I did enjoy that Samoa Joe thing. I suspended my disbelief. I was like, yes, I'm actually interested in what's going to happen here. Joe's going to roll up his sleeves and, choke out Buddy Murphy and beat the holy hell out of Seth Rollins. But we got Dominic and said, Joe is a decoy. I don't know how Joe is doing. Is he not wrestling right now because of his concussions, or they just don't have anything for him to do?
Yeah, he's still on the injured list.
Okay. But when he finally does get off this injured list, they need to come back to this, because we did get a little bit of Joe and Rollins before WrestleMania 34, I believe, or is that when Triple H and Rollins fought? If I'm not mistaken.
Either 33 or 34, one or the other.
Can do that. Have Joe and Seth Rollins as the heel. But I'm very interested to see how Dominic will do at SummerSlam this year. Like Jeff said, it's been 15 years since 05 with the custody ladder match. So we'll see.
No, Jeff, were we having an earthquake there for a second in California?
I'm typing. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
You know what would be crazy if, I don't want to curse anybody here, but if there was an earthquake as we were recording this, that would be insane.
That would be 2020, wouldn't it?
That would be
Jeff
a very
would at least have. He'd have you're in a little corner there. Is that safe corner spot in the house in an earthquake?
I think if the house shook hard enough, the Money in the Bank case would fall, and that's full of stuff, so it might hurt a little bit, but whatever.
Aaron,
I don't care what hits me. Whatever.
Dominic versus Rollins and this whole little thing that got me excited on Raw, but was only a tease.
Okay. Well, first of all, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. He says, imagine if Dominic can wrestle like Eddie and Ray. Well, he would definitely be on his way to becoming a great superstar. If he could even be half as good as Eddie or Ray, I think he would have a successful run in WWE.
If he had the talent of Eddie Guerrero and the quality knee capacity of Eddie Guerrero, he'd be in good shape.
Yeah. Adrian sent in a $2 super chat. Says Dominic is doing it for his dad, Eddie.
That's right.
They should do a throwback to 2005 at SummerSlam. It should be a ladder match. And they could have custody of Rey Mysterio or something like that.
Custody of Ray's eye.
Oh,
man.
There you go.
God.
Ray's eye on a pole match.
Yes. Book it now, McMahon. Damn it.
And Adrian also sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Adrian, for the super chats. He just wanted to let everybody know that Melina was very flexible on Big Dave Batista. Yeah, that's a facepalm right there. Facepalm comment of the evening.
I have no comment on that. Okay.
All right,
Oh boy.
Let's get back to where we were before that. Well, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says Earthquake was better than Tugboat.
Hey, Tugboat gave my 4-year-old brother the Tugboat sign from the LA Sports Arena. So you shut your mouth, Psycho Jet Black. Tugboat is awesome. I love me some Earthquake, damn it.
Earthquake. John Tenta was a legend.
Yeah, he was.
Earthquake was a legend, but Uncle Fred's cool people.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what WWE does with Dominic. I'm a little surprised that they're not doing a tag match or having Dominic against Murphy first. They must have high hopes for him unless it's going to be mainly an angle. But based off of what we've seen, it looks like Dominic can go to some degree. But it's going to be a real test. Maybe he'll shock everybody and he'll be great. I'm very interested to see how this match plays out. But with Ronda Rousey, they put her in a tag match first. I'm just a little surprised that it wasn't a tag match so Dominic could be a little bit more protected in his first big match. But we'll see. Maybe they'll shock us. I'm definitely intrigued by the match.
Now, before we get to the main event, let's just do this as a little quick choice around the horn, because I can't remember if we did this or not. But, we've been in a pandemic. WrestleMania, we crowned 2 new champions, and they won in pretty convincing style. Drew McIntyre, right, the WWE champion, and Braun Strowman, which we know it wouldn't have been him if Roman participated, but he became the Universal Champion. During the pandemic, no fans, who's been better out of the two? It's kind of like Braun wasn't even he wasn't even considered for that spot, right? He kind of just got thrown in there, where you think Drew was. Big G?
Yes.
Thoughts between those two?
I'm going to say Drew has had the better run as WWE champion so far. Like you said, Strowman wasn't even thought of. I don't even think he had a WrestleMania match set in place until Roman decided to bow out and, take care of himself and his family. Drew can work. He can talk on the mic. I'm excited for this McIntyre Orton match at SummerSlam. That's how much tells you. I still like The Fiend. I still like Strowman, but I'm more emotionally invested in Orton and McIntyre than the possible Fiend versus Strowman for the Universal title at SummerSlam.
All right, Jeff Meacham. Interestingly enough, I disagree with Big G there, because I think what's hurt Drew McIntyre is the way his gimmick was going, right? The 1-2-3 Claymore, 3-2-1. He really needs those fans, and without them, I have not been interested in anything he's done until Randy Orton. It's taken Randy Orton. Nothing against Drew. I just feel like he's a victim of the circumstance. Strowman, I've kind of been intrigued with. Now, of course, I have a big stock in The Fiend. An article I just did, I plugged the 100th time already. So maybe that's why. But, what do you think now? I'm just curious then if we'll split decision here out of us four.
I honestly feel they've both had not. And granted, we're in a shitstorm of a year, and I get that. But of the two, if I gun in my head had to choose, I think Strowman's had the stronger last 4 months, and only because he's had Bray to work with, right? Drew has, like you said, Drew's had to have Randy Orton step up and go, okay, I'm done dicking with these legends. I want my belt back. For me to go, ooh, Ooh, okay. Ooh, I like this. Braun, granted, I'm not a fan of the way that they've completely tanked Bray since the Goldberg fiasco. Like, they had their chance when he beat John in the Funhouse, but they've completely ruined him again.
That just wasn't a match. That's what took the...
Right.
If he fought John and beat him in a match, then I probably would have written a completely different article. You know what I mean?
Well, the whole thing was, the thing with John was basically Vince going, okay, we know we screwed up with Bill. I'm sorry. Here's John to play with for a night. And to John's credit, that was some ridiculously good stuff. That was really entertaining. But when they've put him in the ring with fill in the blank, they've done nothing with him. So Braun has suffered as a result of that too, because he beat Mr. Rogers. He went to this whatever finish it was 2 weeks ago with Swamp Thing, and now it's like, okay, now we have the Fiend. Like like we've said, if the Fiend does not leave that SummerSlam event with the championship or with such a vicious, destruction of Braun that even if Braun retains, he'll never be the same. We've got nothing. Bray is completely done. Yeah. So both champions have suffered tremendously. I just think Drew has suffered a little bit more because of lack of quality storyline around his competitions.
Yep. Yeah, and I really feel like the Braun and Bray stuff can get by without the fans, where Drew really, really needed them. Aaron Rift.
Well, because they're actually letting Bray and Braun do the cinematic stuff. Yeah. Drew's character doesn't lend itself much to cinematic. That's the thing.
Yeah. So. Aaron Rift?
Drew McIntyre. I think Drew has had more interesting title matches. Strowman hasn't really done much. I feel like we did talk about this. Maybe somebody asked me on another live stream, but I remember talking about this. Like, Strowman's big defense was against Mr. Rogers, and then a handicap match against Miz and Morrison. McIntyre's actually been doing some interesting matches. He had Big Show as an opponent. He had Bobby Lashley as an opponent. Dolph Ziggler, I guess, was a good match, but not really much of a match in terms of Ziggler being a credible opponent. Psycho Jet Black, I mean, both of them, I think, could have had bigger matches up to this point, and they are going to have big matches at SummerSlam. Psycho Jet Black with $2 says WWE should do Braun Strowman versus Sheamus and Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. Well, we did see Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. That's what got Rollins so upset that he had to take Rey Mysterio's eye out. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to the main event, because I think this last topic is going to be a long one. We're already past an hour here, so this is one of the longest
main event
in a while.
Shane McMahon returned, Raw Underground. So he's got a bunch of looks like Fight Club, right? So Vince McMahon, 30 years later, finally got smartened up to Fight Club. So they're doing this, and
at 25, isn't it?
Of course, it ended. They cut back and forth. They had strippers there, or whatever they were, dancers, and of course, it ended with the Hurt Business. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Going in there and
Beat down
cleaning
clan.
house. So next week now, is that going to be them dominating that little area? So what's everyone's take here? Where is this going? Is this going to build up somebody that new? That one guy, I don't even know some of these people's names that were doing this fighting scenes. Is this going to be a window for Brock to return down the road? What is this in your opinion? Big G, I'm going to start with you. Shane McMahon's involved, so got to put a McMahon in there to make it seem worthy, right?
Yeah.
Is this going to be a good push for the Hurt Business? It
took Vince this long to get something right. Maybe he probably put in Fight Club on VHS like last week and said, "Oh, we got to do this now. We got to do Raw Underground, brothers." I was intrigued. I think what they need to do is they need to make, if they're gonna do this, make the Raw Underground like the third hour. Just focus all on that. Don't keep on going back and forth to a regular match and then going back down there and then going back. If you want viewers, I think, if I'm mistaken, can't remember ratings for. I think it drew over like 1 million viewers for this Raw Underground thing last night, if I'm not mistaken. One of the guys I think was down there was
it should have. Isn't Raw still getting at least 1.5 million?
Yeah, I don't know what they're getting nowadays, but I know one of the guys was Dio Madden that was on commentary for a while. I think he was the one that was it Shelton Benjamin? Yeah. And then the other bigger guy that was on first, he was down in NXT. I can't remember his name right now, but I'm intrigued by it. People are gonna crap on this because it's fake fighting, but it's something different. It took them this long to think outside the box and say, hey, we can do something underground. We'll have some dancers, we'll make it edgy. And, we'll see what happens. Like I said, keep it that one straight hour. Just make it Raw Underground. Don't go back and forth. And then you'll be fine. And I like how Shane's down there. Well, they just keep on having matches, and then I don't know how they do it, but they'll figure something out.
So you're gonna rely on them, and they're gonna find a way to entertain you. Okay.
Yep.
Jeff Meacham.
I am so happy that there's somebody that took longer to see Fight Club for the first time than me now. I'm so happy that Vince finally saw it after 20 because I didn't see it till film as lit class in college like 10 years ago. So I felt terrible after waiting that long, but I feel better. I wanted so bad to think that they were going to do something decent with Shane, and it was different, like you guys said. I just don't know if it's a sustainable entity. Like, it was fun in the moment, but I can't see it being long-lasting. And this is the worst. Like, this isn't even like Band-Aid. This is like a freaking generic adhesive that they're getting off the stores at Rite Aid. Like, this is not going to fix things at all. Yeah. Like, it's a cool in-the-moment thing. And I'm totally about outside-the-box thinking. We all are in this room. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here telling guys, go outside the box.
Yep.
I watched a promo, an interview with Paul Heyman last night in my last night of quarantine when I thought I was sick because the clinic's a bunch of freaking idiots. Paul said the one thing we don't have anymore is that ability to surprise people. Like, we don't have that where we are watching wrestling and going, I did not see that coming. No one in this room 6 years ago thought that Brock Lesnar was going to defeat The Undertaker. Like, they may have said on predictions, okay, yeah, maybe, but nobody legitimately thought, oh my, and when that 3 count went down, if our jaws weren't on the floor, our diapers were full. No. Either one or the other, okay? Yeah. Like, seriously.
You wore diapers?
So, I was sick that week. Leave me alone. So, we don't have that anymore. The thing with Shane has the potential to be surprising and different, but it's not going to be the long-term, permanent Band-Aid or permanent, scar tissue. It's gonna be a weak fix at best.
CM Punk's coming back. Oh wait, we all know how he did.
If CM Punk comes into that room and starts fighting people, I will pop like a mother effer. I will. So.
Aaron Rift, and I don't even think that could be a possibility because the fans would say, "Oh, you get your ass kicked in a real fight. We don't buy that. We don't believe
well, only because we've seen him get his ass kicked in 2 real fights already. So there you go.
But that's weird. They got this other little group going around vandalizing stuff. Now they got Raw Underground. What's going on, Aaron?
Adrian sent in a $2 super chat. Says, "Give this a chance, Rift." I mean, I'm trying, but to me, it's not. I don't think it's nearly as creative as people are making it out to be. Like when they say outside the box, like, it's got to be something that hasn't really been done before. Like, it's got to be a totally new vision. Copying Fight Club or taking elements of Lucha Underground, like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like something all that creative. And like I said on my live stream, it came off extremely pathetic, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned. It just reeked of desperation. And yeah, they got their numbers up a little bit. So they're up to like 1.7 million this week for Raw. There you go. Up on the rise is WWE. Although it does take a while to get those numbers up. But this is not going to be the answer to the problems. Like Jeff said, They're trying to apply a quick fix. It's like you got this huge wound and you're trying to put a Band-Aid on it by just, we're going to have guys doing MMA fighting and women dancing around. That's going to bring in the younger viewers. Like you got to put more thought into it. Like I just felt like this was very short-sighted, and I think it was probably something that Vince or Bruce Pritchard came up with. Jeff?
Well, when I was going to do my live stream yesterday before I had to cancel because of noise where I was, somebody sent me a graphic that was on cable TV 21 years ago. The first week of August 99, the top 5 cable shows in the country over that week, 3 of them were WWE hours. Raw, Warzone, and Heat.
I remember seeing that.
Vegas Vacation was 4th, and Nitro was 5th. That's how hot WCW was. Like, they were tanking so bad by that point. They were a horrible product, but it was still, they still got Hogan. They've got the NWO. They've got this.
Wrestling was a big deal.
People were still willing to give them a chance. You can't do quick fix Band-Aid attempts in this era. Like, you have to do something that's never been done that will make people have that Undertaker guy in the front row bug eyes moment. We don't have that right now. And if you don't have something like that consistently, produces that kind of visceral reaction, then you're not going to get above a 2.0 right now. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Josh Mansfield sent in a $2 super chat. He says, I'm just glad Shane is back. Shane equals money and ratings.
Okay, Shane, when he first came out in Detroit, was a huge moment. The people popped like the freaking Red Wings had won the Stanley Cup, right? But within a couple years, Aaron and I were at Smackdown, and that Staples Center couldn't wait for Shane to go away. Like, we were hoping that Kevin Owens literally killed him in the middle of that ring. Like, go forever. And now he's back already.
Yeah.
So, no.
Shane,
I disagree he's money at this point.
Yeah, Shane's not the answer to the problems. Again, it's quick fix. Oh, he's a McMahon. We bring him back. We'll pop a rating. It's not thinking long-term or thinking, let's do something totally different and reimagine something or come up with a whole new idea. Like, just very little thought put into it, in my opinion, and I think it's going to be dead in 2 weeks. They taped the second episode of Raw, I believe, last night or today or whatever, and I think that after next week it's going to be dropped unless whatever they came up with for the second week is a big hit. I think it's going to fizzle out pretty quickly. So that's my take on it.
And there you have it, folks. So what do you think, NoDQ Galaxy?
We have a $2 super chat from Psycho Jet Black. He says, Shane should beat Braun Strowman for the Universal title.
Can we take his $2 and put him on timeout?
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Virtue. Let's wrap it up.
That's it. We'll go around the horn, right? By that time, maybe there's a couple other questions from the chat. So, Jeff Meacham, I'll start with you since you returned this week and you're COVID-free. Plug.
COVID never in the first damn place. By the way, the clinic in Victorville can kiss my butt. Okay, so the Jeff Meacham Network over at youtube.com/Jeff Meacham and anchor.fm/Jeff Meacham Network. You can find me on audio and video. I did put up a thing yesterday. I was going to announce it on the stream yesterday, but the stream didn't happen. I'm going back to doing both. Some shows are going to be, actually, most of my shows are going to be audio based. Doing the live stuff, honestly, was becoming a stressful thing, and I applaud Aaron for doing the live stuff almost every day, because that's just it consumes my brain and my stress levels go through the roof. So other than the live pay-per-view watch-alongs, which take approximately 14 hours each month, it seems like, and whatever I'm on with you guys, I'm going to be audio-based and pre-taped because it's just easier on my stress levels. But youtube.com/Jeff Meacham, Facebook, Jeff Meacham Network, Twitter and Instagram _Jeff Meacham, and anchor.fm/Jeff Meacham Network. And of course, teespring.com. Thank you for that, Aaron. I just saw it on the thing there. Teespring.com/store/Jeff-Meacham-Network. Buy the shirt.
And as always, Jeff, thank you for being on. I appreciate it.
I am
because you fill a lot of content.
I'm so glad that I got my test result and was able to get home today because I wouldn't have missed this for the world.
Thank you. Big G.
Yes. NoDQ.com/BigBallerG takes us to my Twitter page. NoDQ_BigBallerG 1988 on Instagram. Jeff Hill's on Facebook. And if you have a TikTok, go follow me on TikTok too. I'm doing TikTok now because I'm bored out of my freaking mind.
You do it quick.
Chinese are spying on you.
They're watching you. That's okay.
Wow.
Not anymore. Microsoft's going to be the one spying on you after a couple weeks from now. So yeah.
Right. And I think Greg Cherry has a store on Teesprings as well. You can get this shirt right here, the Big G of NoDQ.
That's it.
And that's it for me, Aaron.
Thank you, Big G. Now, before Aaron does his thing, I want to mention, because when I do my close, I'm going to just sign the show off. Column Wars is upon us on NoDQ.com. You don't see this like you used to back in the Attitude Era in the 2000s. Not only am I back writing columns, Virtue's Rage, Mr. Tito is now part of NoDQ.com exclusively. And Jay's Ways, I believe, Aaron, who is a longtime contributor to columns on the opinion section on NoDQ.com, he's coming back, and the more the merrier. That's right, we are writing wrestling opinions, and we don't always agree with one another. And I'll tell you what, we really disagree sometimes. So check it out. Column Wars over on NoDQ.com. Virtue, Jay's Ways, and Mr. Tito, and others I'm sure will join. Aaron Rift.
Do we want the Extreme View to come back is the question.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, that would really make things interesting.
Oh hell! There you go.
Never say never.
Professor's lecture.
There you go.
All right, back to you.
So, of course, make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding what's going on in WWE, AEW, NXT. We got SummerSlam coming up. We got TakeOver coming up. Where is SummerSlam going to be? There's a lot of rumor and innuendo, as Conrad Thompson might say. And we got...
I don't deal in rumor and innuendo.
We got AEW All Out coming out pretty soon. A lot of things happening. Impact Wrestling has a special edition of their show for 2 weeks. That's coming up. So lots of stuff to talk about. Thank you guys, as always, for watching and supporting. Keep spreading the word. Like I say every video, the word of mouth really goes a long way. If each of you could tell one person to watch this video, it would really help a lot. Every little bit helps. Thank you guys again.
Yeah, make a second account and watch it a second time.
There you go. Virtue, let's wrap it up.
All right, thanks everybody for being on the NoDQ review this week with me. Jeff Meacham, of course, the West Coast professor, Big Baller G, and the boss man, Aaron Rift. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. And guess what? We're going to come back next week and do this again. And the next week after that, and the next week after that. And you know the gimmick. So NoDQ Galaxy, we'll see you next time.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Uh-oh. We're still on the air.
We're still on the air. The This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. We're still on the air.
He stayed on for $2.
This is No DQ After Dark. He says, in all seriousness, do you think Vince Russo could save WWE? Virtue, you are Vince Russo's BFF, so tell us.
Yes, he could. He could get the rating back over 3 million people. And that might not be instantly, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want anything to do with that company.
What would he book, in your opinion? What do you think he would do with the characters?
I don't know, because he's so sick of what they have right now. I don't know if I could even answer that. Like, his last work for a major TV company was with Impact when he was secretly working, and Dixie Carter didn't want anybody to know it. And they still had their TV deals and stuff. And now they're on Twitch? You know, I don't know.
They're on Access TV. Jesus.
He would probably, push Matt Riddle, give Matt Riddle some more character, be very interested in Velveteen Dream. The next generation of stars that you should build, he would give a chance. No doubt about it in my mind.
All right. Well, Aftermatch Wrestling sent in a $2 super chat. This is from Stephen Osborne. He says, catch Virtue and Big G tomorrow on What's NXT.
That's right.
And
I'll be there.
I'm not sure when that's on, but of course you guys know I do my AEW recap after AEW. I know Jeff Meacham was like, I'm gonna do a live stream head to head, and I'm like,
that's not what I said. Jesus.
okay.
Are we ready to quit now?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought there was a comment I wanted to read on here, but now I can't find it.
All right.
Oh, wait, no. Oh, Greg said, not Greg Cherry. Greg says, Virtue just repeats everything Russo says, LOL.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, because why wouldn't I? Why? That's my mentor. Why wouldn't I? Right? But to be fair, I say a lot of stuff that Russo doesn't say, so pay attention. Pay attention to my columns, my tweets, okay? Just because I repeat Russo, are you listening to the stuff that I say that he doesn't say?
Is he a mark?
Who? That guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he donated money to get his prize. Did he donate money or no?
Yeah, he did. Oh, no, he didn't actually. Never mind.
Oh, he's still a mark. But anyway, thanks for watching No DQ Galaxy. We'll see you next time.